What's going on, Celtics World? It's your boy, the Wayne Breezy, and we are back. It is Celtics Daily every Thursday, every Friday with your boy Breezy. Listen, the times are subject to change. That's why you guys want to make sure you download the app, make sure everything is you're alerted so that you don't miss an episode. Just in case you don't know if we're going on at our regular scheduled timing, which is 5 p.m. Eastern time. Today we're an hour early. Tomorrow is going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern, I believe. So make sure you guys go ahead and tune into that. But let's talk about Celtics today. I got a few things I wanted to kind of like talk about. We got a lot of stuff. It's June. We're well into June. You got the NBA draft, June 25th, June 26th. Boston Celtics will be drafting in the first round, and they could potentially be looking for more first round picks, which means we already know they're going to probably be making some moves. We got the latest from Shams, from the NBA, on what he's been hearing about the Celtics. But let me make myself clear. I'm going to drop this boom on you. And I want y'all to understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. Do not touch the big three. Now, the question is, well, who is the big three? Right? Like, that's got to be the question. Because some of us would have said that the big three was Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis. Some feel like the big three is Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Derek White. Some feel that the big three is Jason Tatum, Derek White, and Al Horford. Look, first of all, we already know Al Horford is going to be a free agent. Will he return to the Celtics? That's to be determined. But who essentially is the big three for the Boston Celtics? And, look, it's gonna get rough. It's gonna get but the story is, according to Shams, the story is what the story is. We'll get to that. Let's talk about Jason Tatum though, because I just love reading positive reports um, from Tatum, positive reports, health reports. We talk about health reports, right? Because we got guys that have had surgery and are surgery, they're recovering, all that good stuff. Jason Tatum on June 7th tweeted out day 25, days starting to get a little easier. Now, I'm a big fan at players and the way that they recover, the new technology as far as medicine, and players are recovering a lot faster than they used to. Okay, so that's important. Now, I'm not rushing the process of Jason Tatum being back, and trust me, I want him to take the time that he needs to get physically right. Got to clear that, and so that he can mentally get back out there to practice before he even gets to play a basketball game. He's got to practice. So long time. He's day 25 after the Achilles repair. Um, and he says days are starting to get a little easier. I don't know about you, but I take this as super positive, like super positive, right? And so this is important. Uh, the quicker he recovers, the quicker he can get back to being on the basketball court. And I just absolutely love this pick. Celtics banner posted, right? Can't wait, champ. You can see him. Is this like Jason Tatum in the Bane? Is that the Bane problem? I'm trying to figure out, or is this just him in the lab being regenerated? I'm curious to know what y'all thoughts are on that. But again, Jason Tatum returning will be, obviously it's going to take some time, but it's good to hear the positive reports from Jason Tatum. Just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think, man. How cool are you guys when it comes, to Jason Tatum just being on the up and up with everything? And that to me, mentally, I think the mental over the physical aspect is going to be most important. I think physically he's going to recover fine. I think he's going to have the bounce, he's going to have the movement, he's going to have all of that. I just think I'm only concerned, and I'm not saying he's weak minded. That is not where I'm going with this. I think Jason Tatum is very strong willed, very strong minded, and he has tons of support. We got Jax Knox in the building, in the live chat. We show ear horns to those that are in the live chat. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for tuning into the show. Hey, Jack Knox. She says, I'm glad he is getting better. So that was day 25. It is June 12th. So we were at day, and that was on June 7th, June 8th, day 26th, June 9th would be day 27th, June 10th would be day 28th, June 11th would be day 29. And today would mark day 30, June 12th. So 30 days, oh, like a full month if you're not counting that 31st day. So congratulations to Jason Tatum, man. Rest up, bro. Let me find out Jason Tatum's got that animanium running through his veins. I'm sure I mispronounced the word, but if you guys are fans of Marvel comics and Wolverine and Deadpool, you know what I'm talking about. We talk about quick hell rejuvenation, right? Like getting healthy quicker. And that's something that Jason Tatum probably has. Now let's talk about uh uh Jaylen Brown, Celtics other superstar. Um, it was unsure if he was going to undergo surgery. He was kind of waiting. Now Shams reported this, and they are Jaylen Brown and his grandfather did post pictures of the recovery process. So it's really good to see that. But let's just talk about Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown went arthroscopic surgery on his knee and is expected to be ready for 2025-2026 training camp. Okay, 2025-2026 training camp. Man, it's so crazy, right? Because the Celtics went from NBA champs to like NBA injured. Like that was weird, right? Kristaps Porzingis. You think about it. If you talk about the big three, like do not touch the big three, and you think about who the big three were, like the big three are, or whoever you result to the whoever the big three are, like it's weird. Like Kristaps Porzingis had a weird ass health injury, respiratory infection, whatever. Couldn't really overcome that. Jason Tatum tears his Achilles. Jaylen Brown was playing on a bad knee for the longest. He had a tear, right? And his meniscus, slight partial tear in the meniscus. So he went arthroscopic surgery and it was successful. And again, like I said, like Jaylen Brown, you see the photos of him out there. Him and his grandfather. That was dope to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like that is spot on for me. I love to see it. I love to see Jaylen Brown healthy, like ready to go. You know what I mean? And again, training camp, he should be back for training camp. And it doesn't, personally, I just don't really see the Boston Celtics, trading Jaylen Brown. Like I just don't see it. You know what I mean? I just don't see it. Now, again, I'm a big stickler on a team making, you know what I'm saying, the Celtics an offer they can't refuse. We have to have this conversation, and we're gonna have this conversation like every single time we meet because until it passes, it's almost like, oh my gosh, right? Oh my gosh. Now, I'm never maybe him being injured will make teams want to stay away. So this could be like a blessing in disguise. You know what I'm saying? But if Boston is looking to get underneath that second apron and first apron, I feel like they're gonna have to move on from a big chip, one of the big three. And I definitely consider Jaylen Brown one of the big three. Like without a doubt. Like, you know what I mean? I should have did a poll question. Matter of fact, I'll try to create a poll question. Who is the final? Who is the final piece of the big three? Or final piece of the big three, or to the big three? And I'll put. Let's go. Kristaps Porzingis. We're creating on the fly, baby. Kristaps Porzingis. Who else did I say? Let's add some new names to this because I like to give four choices. Right. So you got a 25% chance. This is not a right answer. Okay. All right. So I don't want people to think this is, there's no right answer. It's all opinion based. And let's go with my man Drew Holiday. All right. So I'm going to put the poll question out. Who is the final piece of the big three going into the 2025-26 NBA season? All the players that I've mentioned are under contract. So it's not like the Celtics have to trade anybody. All right. Again, this is Jaylen Brown. This is his grandpa. He's showing that he underwent the surgery and that it was successful. And I just wanted to share that with the Boston Celtics community. I call my community Celtics World. I have a Celtics World podcast that I'm really starting to getting gear on the YouTube. So make sure you guys check that out. I'll be telling. So whenever you hear me say Celtics World, that's what I'm referring to because it's we worldwide, baby. You know what I mean? We worldwide. You know what I'm saying? So who's the final piece of the big three? We got Kristaps Porzingis, we got Peyton Pritchard, we got Derek White, we got Drew Holiday, and again, like I said, these players aren't necessarily all these players are currently under contract, right? So it's not like I'm picking players that aren't available, like, that aren't with the team. They literally are under contract for the Boston Celtics. Will they move on from some of these guys? Who knows? We got 2 votes right now going for Derek White, so that means other people are watching live. Let's go, live viewers. If you're out there in the live chat, all you gotta do is drop a comment, man, and I'll give you a shout out. Like that's how your boy Breezy does. I feel like I'm on the radio, like that. I'm old school with it, Shout outs all day coming from your boy. All right, so let's get back to some of the Celtics news as far as that. And I want to get your takes on, the whole Jaylen Brown situation because I think at some point it can get a little ugly. And I'm here to kind of like, try to smooth everything out around the rough edges. Now, Shams did say on the Pat McAfee show, and we'll get to that. He did say something that I thought was not intriguing. It was kind of like common sense. It was like Shams, we already know, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, you know, like I said, it was common sense. I don't think the Celtics want to move on from Jaylen Brown, but he did mention that on the live show, and he said that he doesn't feel like the Celtics want to move on, but there's probably going to be some fireworks coming from Boston because if there's a team that makes the Celtics an offer that they can't refuse, then expect that to happen for the Boston Celtics. The Celtics may just happen to move on from a guy like Jaylen Brown. He says the Celtics, quote, prefer not to trade Jaylen Brown or Derek White. And there's teams that are intriguing about Derek White. And it's going to come down to what the teams are willing to give up for the Celtics to make a move. Now, and again, the Celtics don't have to go into this season with any trades. They can pay all the fines if they choose, if they feel need be, all that good stuff. From a financial standpoint, me just looking at the finances of the team, which I have zero control over. I think this is probably the right time to make some type of a financial reset because your all NBA superstar player is currently going to be out. And so I'm going to stand on that. That's not a rock where I feel like I'm standing alone, but I feel like a lot of people aren't thinking from that mindset. And it's cool. That's just kind of like where my mind is. So curious to know where your mind is. But the fandom in me doesn't want to break up any of this team. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to break up any of this team. I want this team to stay as strong, long and strong for as long as they can. But I do know money does play a factor, and teams got to pay fines and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to put that out there about the whole Jaylen Brown situation. Sham says that the Celtics prefer not to trade those 2 players, but again, we got to just sit back and we got to wait and watch the fireworks. And hopefully there's no fireworks with the Celtics. Now, for those that follow NBA news, if I'm not mistaken, Giannis isn't going anywhere, which means the next man up is Kevin Durant. We had this conversation. You have several teams interested in Kevin Durant. The Celtics aren't one of them, but it's going to come down to which team lands Kevin Durant, and then expect that phone to go bring, 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 because then that's when I feel like Brad Stevens is going to get tons of phone calls. And if I'm Brad Stevens, I want first round pick, and I'm talking top 5 pick, or I'm not moving on from Jaylen Brown. I'm not giving up an all NBA player. You feel me? I'm not giving up an all NBA player for a top 10 pick. I'm just not doing it. Now for a top 5 pick, yeah, I'm definitely interested. And I mean like top 3 on top of that, because he's the 3rd pick, right? So like I'm interested. uh, plus with some other assets. But obviously, in basketball, money it got to fit monetary wise. The money's got to balance out. They got to even themselves out or whatnot. So we'll see what happens. Now, Pro Line mock-ups. All right. Pro Line mock-ups. Okay. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. So when I get a chance, I got so much we got to get covered. Now, Pro Line mock-ups um, came up with a mock-up jersey. All right. That they feel it's not 100% accurate. Okay. It's not 100% accurate, but they have the 2025 2026 mock up jersey, the Celtic City edition. So I wanted to share that with you. I want to get your takes on that particular jersey. Let's look at it real quick. Bada bing, 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 bing. Boom. Is this the bomb? All right. I mean, like, let me know. Like, are y'all feeling this joint? I like the colors. It's the 2017-18 recolor where they went with the darker green, the hard gold. I'm a gold pro. I like gold. I don't know why I love gold, right? But I kind of like this. The floor, you could see the jersey is kind of like got like a hardwood floor on the white imprint of the jersey. And again, this is a mock up. This does not mean this is going to be the official design of the jersey. But if you had to rate this jersey 1 through 10, what would you give this jersey? If you had to rate the mock up jersey, and let's just say we go with the 0, the Jason Tatum, you know what I'm saying, jersey, what would you guys rate this? I feel like this is a strong 7, I think, for me. Because I'm curious to know. Yeah, it's a 7. It's a 7. They will only wear these at home, and it's a 7. 7 8 possible. Nothing. I think 7 8. Definitely nothing lower than a 7. I'm starting with a 7, and it could get higher for me. The more I see it, like the more I see it, more like 3D, the back, you know. But I do kind of like the detail on the hardwood floor. You know what I'm saying? All right, Jack Knox says it's an 8. I kind of like the detail on the hardwood floor. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I kind of like the detail of the hardwood floor on the jersey. That's kind of cool to me. That means, you know, the colors, the dark green. Again, they're following that 2017-18, and I got to go back to those dates because I feel like I have jerseys from that. I just want to see if the colors match. But I just wanted to share with you guys um, the mock-up jersey for this year's Celtics City edition. All right, and if you guys are watching and the repass of the show, if you want to leave a comment, what would you rate this jersey? I'm going with a 7. Jack says she's going with an 8. Do we have anything lower than a 7? Anything higher than an 8? That'd be interesting to find out. I can't wait to read those. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be cool. Um, I'm cool out there. All right, now, uh, Coach Joe Mazzulla, Brian Robb talked about this. He wrote about this. Coach Joe Mazzulla, on June 10th, was spotted courtside in Turkey on Monday watching. And I don't want to mess up his name, all right, because this is a tough name to say. All right, so is it Finar Bosch? I'm not even gonna do it. Why am I doing it? I'm not even gonna do it. Anyway, he was watching the EuroLeague star in Turkey ahead of Celtics free agency. So this particular player can potentially be somebody that the Celtics look into adding free agents wise. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna see what happens. Free agents, Celtics got to look to get some of these players where that's not going to cost them a tons of money. So Brian Robb from masslive.com wrote a little story about Nigel Hayes Davis. All right. So I'm not going to mess up the team's name, but that's the player um, over there in Turkey that the Celtics may be looking at. You know, as he did right. He said the Celtics are expected to have with a veteran minimums contract available in free agency to fill that void. So this particular player would get a veteran minimums type of a contract. He says so it's just a low cost option to fill in at the wing. We know that the Celtics love wing players, forwards. Those are the wings, small forwards, power forwards, however you want to look at it. We call them wings now. And this could be someone potentially being a Boston Celtic. Now, on tomorrow's episode, we'll probably look a little bit more into who the Celtics may look to target in the draft, but free agency is soon come once the season ends. Right now, Indiana has a 2-1 lead in the NBA Finals over OKC. So we'll see what happens. I'm actually like, I'm kind of hoping the Eastern Conference wins again. Like, I don't like the Western Conference. I don't like anything about the Western Conference. I feel like the Western Conference, they call the Eastern Conference soft. Man, bump that. You know what I'm saying? Bump that. I like the Eastern Conference. So let's keep it in the Eastern Conference, right? I felt like I didn't want to go for the Pacers, but now that I think about it, man, bump that, man. Keep this junk in the Eastern Conference for sure. So a lot of stuff to think about for the Boston Celtics as they continue to make strides to move forward. They're going to be looking at other types of low cost free agents. Doesn't mean they're going to go across seas to grab a Euro star. They might look right here in free agency. We talked about some of the key positions the Celtics have to fill. And I still think that the Celtics have a good shot in bringing back, either Luke Cornett or either Al Horford. Probably easier to bring back a guy like Al Horford. But again, that's an older player, probably going to be on a vet minimum contract, right? But he knows potentially he'll be able to compete. I think Al Horford will make the decision based off of what else the Celtics do. So if I'm Al Horford, and let me ask you this: if I'm Al Horford, if you're Al Horford, or I'm Al Horford, if we're Al Horford, right? And the Celtics say Al, like if you're Al Horford, what's one thing other than the money, obviously, that you would want Brad Stevens to do to entice you to re-sign as a Boston Celtic? Now, again, he's older, and I don't think he gets a lot of demands at this point in his career, but they do know that Al Horford is glue. He is the glue, right? And so if you could pick one player for Al Horford to want to stay here, who would that player be? Who would that player be? Because now we're talking about a guy that's aging. With the Al Horford just turned 39. We're talking about a guy that's aging. Is he 39? We're talking about a guy that's aging, right? And we're talking about a guy that's going to come back to a team without its superstar and Jason Tatum. So if I'm Al Horford, me, oh, you better not touch Jaylen Brown. You know what I'm saying? Because that's their best shot and competing for the O'Brien. Like literally, best shot. Got to have Jaylen Brown here and figure out how he's going to improve his game after he's recovering from his arthroscopic knee surgery. So if I'm Al Horford, I'm like, listen, don't move Jaylen Brown. You want me back? Make sure Brown is here intact. You can do whatever else you need to do, but I need Brown here. Now, the Celtics can ask for demands too. They might have to ask Al, listen, I know you're older, dog, but you're going to have to come. You got to play on some of these back to backs. So, like I said, it could get tricky. It could get messy. Free agency is a monster. It's not easy. Al is a fan favorite. He is a city favorite. And you could tell Al Horford genuinely loves the Boston Celtics, right? Like genuinely. Let me talk about a guy where the Celtics got him and then they moved on from him because he was able to get max contracts. He goes to the different teams, OKC, whatever. He gets moved around. He's in Philly. He gets moved around, right? And look where he ended up at. And then look where he won the championship. He got his championship with the Boston Celtics. So if I'm Al Horford, I kind of feel like my best shot at returning, if I it just gets tough because my best shot at returning to championship mode would be to me with the Boston Celtics, but he may feel like he can get that on another team. And so that's where it can get a little weary. But again, these guys are free agents, so they're actually going to be free to do whatever it is they see fit and see what's best for themselves. So the Celtics got some stuff that they got to kind of like iron out, man. They got some stuff that they got to iron out. They got to figure out which free agents they're going to retain or try to retain. And again, give me the stretch. Give me the stretch big. Give me the guy that I know can space the floor. Because if you're looking to move Kristaps Porzingis, if you're looking to move on from him, that's your stretch big right there. He's a little taller. He's much more of a rim protector than Al Horford. I don't think he plays better perimeter defense, but his height does affect shots when he gets his hands up in the air. But he does jump a lot. But at the end of the day, they both are kind of iffy with their health. Al Horford obviously is going to be more iffy because he's a little older. So more wear and tear on his body. He's going to need more time to recoup. But Kristaps Porzingis has shown, like, man, for the last 2 seasons, he can't figure out how to stay healthy. I don't know if the Celtics will be able to move that $30+ million contract, but if they can, and if they have to add something to it to kind of like shore up that, like kind of put on what do you call it? Try to put on I'm saying like an extra piece, like a Sam Hauser or something like that. Like a safety blanket or a safety net. They try to put or safety guard, whatever. If they put on something a little extra to kind of like entice that, because I'm sure teams are going to be like, well, what else can you give us? Because this guy doesn't play full seasons of basketball and he's making $30+ million. So like it's going to be tough to move these contracts, these players in these contracts. But if I had to pick between Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis, as much as I love Kristaps Porzingis and his stretchness and all that good stuff, his ability to hit the three, it's like when the time comes down to the gritty of the game, he's kind of MIA due to some type of a health situation. Now, again, it's weird that his health this year was due to something respiratory, opposed to something physical to where he's on the basketball and he gets hurt. Last year in the championship run, he got hurt. This year, he came back from that. He looked sharp when he was when Kristaps is fresh and healthy. That's a dangerous man. That's one of those guys that you feel like if he in the big three, if he's part of the big three, you bet not touch. Here's who I think are the big three candidates. Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis. I still don't think Peyton Pritchard is going to be included in the big three. I'm curious to see what Brad Stevens does with the bench this year. But it's got to come down to those two. And if I had to pick which one I'm not going to touch, it's going to be Derek White because I need somebody that can run the offense. It's not about his ability to shoot the three. It's not about his ability to score. It's not about his ability to block shots. It's about his ability to be able to run the offense. We might see a different front for the backcourt for the Boston Celtics this upcoming season. I don't think you touch Derek White. I think you keep Derek White where he is. You add around Derek White, right? You not build, you just add to what he's able to do out there on the basketball court. I feel like he's much better off ball guy than the guy with the ball in his hand, but he can be the guy with the ball in his hand. We haven't really had an opportunity to see him play the point, but this is where I think a guy like Peyton Pritchard might move on up the depth chart, become the starting point guard, especially if they move on from Drew Holiday and you get Peyton Pritchard in there, right? And now Pritchard, White can go back to his role, still at the two. And now you're just trying to fulfill that wing spot, right? That's where it could be a little bit iffy. Do they bring Torrey Craig back? We didn't really get to see much of Torrey Craig. He had almost a 3/4 of a year in this system of Joe Mazzulla. We know he can shoot. We know he can score. We know he's a wing. Is he going to be someone that they look to bring back free agent wise? And we'll touch on free agents. They're going to start with their own. They're going to look outside for others. Got the draft coming up in a couple of weeks. So lots to go down in Celtics world, Celtics nation, Celtics mania. I like that name too, Celtics mania. That's a pretty cool name. I should have thought of that. But a lot to go down. I mean, I did think of it, but I should have thought of it before I created my pick. Celtics, man, I'm just WrestleMania, Celtics, whatever. I'm just yapping. But at the end of the day, I think the Boston Celtics know what they need to do. They know what they need to kind of iron out, and it's going to start with which players they're looking to bring back, which players they're looking to add to this roster. And don't expect the Celtics to look for any superstars. They have superstars. They need role players, right? Why touch the superstars that you have if you have a superstar when you can go out there and get players to complement and work with the superstars that you have? It's just one of those things. Do not touch the big three. Do not touch Jason Tatum. Do not touch Jaylen Brown. And do not touch Derek White. Before we go and before we end this show, we want to send a very, very happy birthday to Drew Holiday, who just turned 35 years old on today. Happy birthday to cousin Drew. Don't want him going. Listen, let me again, my disclaimer is this. I don't want to break up any of this. I don't want to break up this team, period. I don't want Drew traded. He was dealing with injuries. I don't want Chris Stapps traded. I don't want any of these players traded. But I do understand that the Celtics got to do what the Celtics got to do. It's your boy Wayne Breezy, Celtics Daily, every Thursday, every Friday, live right here on Bleacher Report. Make sure you subscribe to me. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. See you next time. Celtics World. Peace.